I had a client who was really struggling with holding her space. Okay, so she was what we would call like a people pleaser, right? She always was trying to fix everything for everyone. She was the one who organized everything for everyone, whether it was family or friends or whatever. She was always the one who took care of everybody. That was her thing. Okay. And as she started doing more frequency work, she realized that she was feeling exhausted and heavy and burnt out and not a super high resonance because she was taking on everyone else's stuff. So as we started to work together, we were releasing distortion patterns about low self-worth, holding her space, all this sort of stuff, taking on other people's burdens, all this sort of stuff, right? So we're releasing these distortion patterns, and she would notice where things would get louder for her, where more people would demand things of her, and she would really not want she really wouldn't have the time or the energy to be able to do that thing. And she had to really learn to, for her, the confirming of the removal of the pattern was to say no. Okay, for her to be like, and for her, it was hard to say no. So we had to release a bunch of distortion around that. And it was for her to say something like, I can't right now, but I can later. Right? Or I hear that you need help with this. I can offer you this at this point, but not everything you're asking for. Right? So that's how we baby stepped into it. And so eventually what happened, so what happened is that people around her got a little upset because they always expected her to be the cleanup person for them. And she started to learn that it was and hold her space with, okay, it's all right that they're upset with me, right? It's still not worth it for me to sacrifice myself in that way. And she continued to hold her space and get stronger. And she, it was really cool because at the beginning of one session, she said to me, I'm so proud of myself. I've had this huge breakthrough. There's this friend of mine who is very draining for me. And she's always assuming that I'm going to be able to have her over at my place whenever she's in town. And this time she told me she was coming in, and she almost expects me to almost be like a hotel. Like she's coming in and like maid service rolls out and like my home is available to her. But this time I said to her, you know, I'm sorry. I'm feeling tired at this moment. It's not a good time for me. You can't stay with me this time. You're going to have to find somewhere else. Now the person was totally shocked and then of course angry. But she just held her space and she did great. And at the end, she was very proud of herself because she's like, I didn't really want that person here. And I feel really wonderful that I put myself first and that I won't be drained and I won't have to feel obligated to do this anymore. So it was a real breakthrough for her. So it was a series of confirmed removal of the pattern that got her to the point where she could say no to somebody she felt was before taking advantage of her. So that was a huge deal. So that's what I mean by how powerful it can be, because it can really shift who you are. And she's starting to do that more and more with different people in her life and getting clearer so that, and it's really a beautiful thing to witness because it's a sort of her acknowledging the importance of who she is. It's not just about everyone else. It's her brilliance, her, you know what I mean? Her own worth without having to get it from someone else. So it's a really beautiful thing to watch.